So I found, I'm doing a little bit of digging for a TI. They gave me an IP. I reversed the IP. It went to a company and it also referenced Spectrum Networks, which is in, the United States. So they always talk about spectrum dominance and stuff. So I also found this scientific camera. I believe it's a scientific camera. There we go. So in every TI's coordinates that I have looked up and that I've converted to a functional IPv4, and that's just by reducing and following the rules of what all IPv4s fall into in the world. I always find this: a scientific camera combined with user note, GPS pitch angle, and azimuth angle, travel in Taiwan. Always find that every single time. Every single time. So I decided to look up a little bit of this stuff in regards to drone surveillance and its UAV pitch and roll, calculating position of target of a drone. So when you have a drone used in surveillance, or a quadcopter, which is a UAV, unmanned aerial vehicle, it needs a geographical location and a mapped out area, and a signal to coordinate with. We'll call it a signal, where they send it an order and they say, find this signal. And so depending on the scope of the camera system, I believe, can actually track a neuromodulation implant within the systems. Because, we always find drones. So let me find that. So here's another one that is in referencing to the AngleCam Pro angular camera, scientific camera combined with user note, GPS pitch angle, and azimuth angle. I know that some lenses require specialty use, especially in military, and you're not allowed to bring in certain cameras into Canada. I have to get some chips. Okay. Calculating position of a target drone. So I know that there has to be antennas for coordination and a geofenced area for surveillance within a drone. So you can deploy a drone to a specific area that's pre-programmed. But in order to keep a drone on a moving target, you have to be nearby. And if the target moves and changes position, the person operating the craft has to change position to configure the target location with the drone. And here's a reference that I'd found within antennas. So this is a coordination using antenna systems. So there would have to be antennas in the yard or the environment of the individual to keep the drone on mark. We'll call it on mark because it's a geofencing system. And that works with what Kay has been finding in North Carolina pertaining to expired licenses with these antenna systems that are utilized and that she's filed complaints with the Federal Communications Commission. So this is kind of neat. And I believe that this has to do with GNSS and GPS spoofing, as referenced in a research paper by a fellow. Let me see if I can pull him up. And here he is. You can actually follow him on Twitter. And here's his stuff. Modifications made to USA's GPS signal with a digital phase Lockloop can produce a global targeting electromagnetic field able to perform global satellite targeting systems in cyber attacks. Saturating the targeted area with electromagnetic field GPS spoofing, global tracking of your wireless mobile electronics and even cars, electromagnetic illness, electromagnetic sensitivity syndrome, microwave auditory effect, which is also called the Frey Affect, otherwise known as Havana Syndrome attacks, anomalous health incidents tool used by gang stalkers. So I'll just pull these up so we can look at these. There's the carrier signal. This is all like Greek to me.
GPS spoofing, GPS cyber attacks. Works by saturating a targeted area with an electromagnetic field. Responsible for Havana Syndrome attacks caused by prolonged exposure to an oscillating, pulse electromagnetic field within the range of 200 MHz - 6 GHz. L1 1575.42 MHz GPS microwave carrier signal. The signal we all use with GPS, GNSS, can carry the oscillating voltage signal produced by a digital phase lock loop. It can connect to the wireless signals produced by wireless electronics within the electromagnetic field saturated area produced when combining our GPS signal with the signal produced by DPLL, saturating an area like a Wi-Fi signal, no password needed, and can bypass end-to-end encryption. Electromagnetic fields are used to carry information depending on how those electromagnetic fields are generated, made. They can do different things by carrying a multitude of various signals and frequencies to connect, lock onto, hack, and track other signal-producing electronics. Microwave carrier signal plus electrical voltage signal equals electromagnetic field. When made with a microwave carrier signal made from a L1 1575.42 MHz GPS microwave carrier signal plus oscillating voltage signal produced by a digital phase lock loop equals a global targeting strength adjustable electromagnetic field able to connect to your wireless electronics just by typing in your address location. Saturation causes electromagnetic illnesses, syndromes. Electromagnetic hypersensitivity syndrome. Microwave auditory effect, microwave hearing. Cricket cicada noise. AKA Havana Syndrome attacks.
And it's clearly traceable because look what we just found. So it's important to keep this fellow in mind. He's not a fool. He's written papers on this, and I think it's amazing. That's his pinned post if you want to follow him. The transmitter connector loop feedback system used for digital activity and radio transceiver cyber attacks, which is responsible for Havana Syndrome's attacks. Yes, Havana Syndrome attacks are caused by cyber attacks. So we are living in the age of cyber warfare. That's a fact. I mean, papers have been written on it over a decade ago by Nels Melzer, cyber warfare. So cyber warfare, we all know that electronics and or radio frequency can be used to pulse, surge, create negative impacts on a person's body with the SAR value, SAR. What's the SAR value? That's exposure limits of what a person, an individual, can handle for non-ionizing and or ionizing radiation stuff. And what is wireless communication? What is microwaves? Well, radio communication, it's non-ionizing radiation, right? And can it harm people? Yes. There's like zillions of scientific papers on this, and that's why there's exposure limits on this. And can you get a radio frequency exposure diagnosis by an expert diagnosing it definitively? Yes. Surprisingly, those experts exist outside of Canada. Anyways, it's enough of my wine, bitch, and cheese. We're 10 minutes. So try to mess with your GPS coordinate. Find your GPS coordinate and reduce it and see if you can find the scientific camera. Make it a functional IPv4. Every IPv4 in the world falls between 0.0.0.0.02, 255, 255, 255, 255. Of course, there's a dot in between each 255. That's every IPv4 in the world. And if you have an IPv6, well, you just Google a calculator and convert your IPv6 to an IPv4 because the world works on IPv4s. Isn't that funny? You know, it's just a layer of masking insanity. And remember, reversing the IPv4 tells the same story, and it uncovers a layer of masking systems. All right, later.